Well, hello everyone and welcome along to another Saturday session. I hope you are all well. Now, today I thought it'd be interesting to have a look at some opinions and beliefs and have a look at some polls and surveys on conspiracy theories and see what people are actually thinking out there in the wide world. So I thought I'd go through a few of them and we'll have a look and just see where people are at the moment. Now this one is a University of New Hampshire one, Carsey Research, spring of 22. Now the first one we come across here are the percent who agree, are unsure or disagree with 3 conspiracy claims and with a basic scientific fact. Now the first one is vaccinations implant microchips. Obviously ridiculous. However, 9% agree with that statement. 9%. Now, for reference, the sample size isn't huge. It's around 1,100 people. But still, that is a worrying percentage. 19% unsure, 73% disagree. Here is another worrying one. Earth is flat, not round. 10% agree with that. Now, if we extrapolate that to the population of the US, what are we talking? 30 million flat earthers? Who knows? I mean, obviously, you could fill these things in for a laugh and a joke, but still. Another one, 12% agree that NASA did not land on the moon. 12%. The worrying thing is only 71% disagree in total. And then the basic scientific fact here that Earth is billions of years old. 75% agree, 8% disagree with that. They disagree. There's no, there's no scientific reasoning for that. They just disagree, probably because of faith. Bit of a worrying one there to start. So this one here is percentage who agree with 9 conspiracy or scientific statements. We've already seen these: the vaccinations, the Earth is flat, and the moon landings. 28% of people think the COVID risks were exaggerated. 58% think that humans evolved. So that's a staggering 42% think that we didn't evolve. That is incredibly worrying. 64% thinks that humans are changing the climate. 69% think that vaccines are mostly beneficial. 75% Earth is billions of years old. And 83% think that the Earth revolves around the sun. So 17% either don't think that or unsure. That is an incredibly worrying statistic. This one here is on Trump approval. So this is a very fascinating graph, actually. The percentage of people that agree that vaccines have implanted microchips who approve of Trump are over double that disapprove. Very, very interesting statistic. Again, Earth is flat. More people that approve of Trump think that the Earth is flat. More people that approve of Trump think that NASA did not land on the moon. And then what you'd expect, the flip side, more people that disapprove of Trump agree that Earth is billions of years old. Very, very interesting. Differences between Trump approvers and disapprovers are statistically significant. I would definitely say that. Very interesting one, that. Now, here we have the responses to those conspiracy theories and science statements by generation. By generation. Now, I'm a millennial. Well, I was sort of born between the beginning of the millennial period and the end of Generation X. So, but I probably am, given my upbringing, I would probably identify more as a millennial, I guess. And that is worrying because the millennials are the ones who agree the most that vaccinations implant microchips. The early boomers and the silent generation are having none of it. And even the Generation Z is going down as well. Earth is flat. Now, here's another interesting one. Millennials, again, the biggest group that support flat Earth. Then it's Generation Z, then X, and the late boomers are the smallest. Then we go landing on the moon. Now, this one doesn't surprise me because I feel like if you're alive for this and you watched it all, your opinion on it is going to be different, and you can definitely see that here. The silent generation, the boomer generation, a lot fewer percentage agreeing that NASA did not land on the moon, and then bam, Generation X, Millennials, and Generation Z, all higher percentages than those. I would expect that as well. And then Earth is billions of years old. This is, you can't really, there's not much difference here. Interestingly, Generation Z have got the lowest percentage that agree on this. That one is interesting to me, actually. Only 71% by the looks of it agree that the Earth is billions of years old for Generation Z. That's an interest. That's probably the most interesting one for me so far. So we move on to the UK. So this is broken down in to male, female, and age brackets. But we'll look at the total bracket here. So we've got 2,039 people that were surveyed here. The threat of climate change is over exaggerated. Now here we've got a slight different take on it. Definitely true and probably true. Probably false, definitely false, and don't know. So the people that are saying that it's pretty much true are 23% that it's over exaggerated. Vaccinations have harmful effects which are not being fully disclosed to the public. 20% of the UK population are saying that is at least probably true. That is an incredibly worrying statistic. Not good. Here we go. Flat earthers in the UK. Now that is very promising. It's 3% that are saying at least it's probably true, which is significantly lower than the US. People often ask me about UK flat earthers, do they exist? Which obviously they do, but it is true that there are more in America. A solid 88% saying definitely false as well. That's great to see. What's the definitely true? So 18 to 24s, there isn't even a percentage. It must have been less than 1%. And the highest percent of the 25 to 34s and the 45 to 54s doesn't surprise me at all there. Here we go. So the UK, the moon landing was staged. At least 16% saying that is probably true in total, that the moon landing was staged. 9% not knowing. Is there a breakdown in age here? Again, not really. There's not really a difference here in the UK. 46543 saying it's definitely true. It is slightly lower, I guess, on the whole for 55 pluses. So again, you're looking at that sort of, that's 13% for the 55 pluses. At least probably true. The universe was created by God in 7 days and evolution was part of his creation plan. Now, the UK is becoming is becoming more atheistic as the years go by. That is definitely the case. And you see that by these numbers. 56% saying definitely false, 14 probably false in total. But then the age brackets here, it's getting... Again, there's not a huge difference actually. So in my age bracket, where it's almost 60% saying that's definitely false. Okay, very interesting. Okay, this is YouGov again. We're going back to the states here. So this is a YouGov states survey on conspiracy theories. And in particular, this one interested me. Where do you get your information about news and current events? And out of the 1,000 people that took this survey, social media, Facebook and Twitter, is 47%. 47% of people get their news source information from Facebook and Twitter. Slightly worrying. Of course, the percentages don't add up to 100 because people could get it from news, local news and radio and social media, for example. So that's why these aren't adding up to 100. But that is a very worrying statistic that almost half of those people are getting their news information from Facebook and Twitter, where of course we know there is a lot of misinformation hanging around. 7% blogs, 10% newsletters. So the lowest is blogs there. Interesting. This one asks, regardless of who is officially in charge of the government and other organisations, there is a single group of people who secretly control events and rule the world together. There is a percentage here of 41% saying at least probably true on that. That is staggering to me. 41% of the US population, yes, it's a small survey size, but 41% of this survey are suggesting that it's probably true at least that there's a single group of people who secretly control events and rule the world together. That one is a big shocker for me. It really is. Another one here that's pretty current at the moment is that vaccines have been shown to cause autism. That's the question here. And 25% are saying at least it's probably true. There is a real problem at the moment with misinformation, and going through these sorts of things shows you why. Very, very worrying. Okay, this one, the US government is using COVID-19 vaccine to microchip the population. Again, at least 20% saying it's probably true. Honestly, it's quite apparent that there is still a lot of work to do in fighting misinformation. The 1969 landing on the moon didn't occur and was staged somewhere in Arizona is the next question, and 18% saying at least probably true of the US population. Now that is higher than the other survey, I think. But encouragingly, 65% saying it's at least probably false, that information, which is great. 17% not sure. Party ID, I mean, this could be interesting. So more Republicans think it is true that the moon landing was staged than Democrats. More Trump supporters than Biden voters, sorry. And there's not really a difference in region. Very interesting. Very odd one here, which I still think is odd. The question is, Barack Obama was not born in the United States. 31% of the US population are saying at least that's probably true. It's just madness. And this is really a key indicator. Here, look at this. 55% of Trump voters are saying that's probably true at least. Only 14% of Biden voters. Fascinating stuff. Again, another worrying one. Do you have a favourable or unfavourable opinion of QAnon? And 15% are saying at least somewhat favourable. Dear, oh dear. And I thought I'd end on this one, which is very, very, very interesting indeed. So this is a target group of 193,611 people, 138 of which identified as flat earthers. And the questions were, how religious were you, basically? Somewhat religious, not at all religious, very religious, or not very religious. 20% of the population who took this survey are very religious, 37% somewhat religious. So over half of the population here is indicating that they are religious. Now, we go to the control group, flat earthers, and a very interesting statistic arises. 52% are very religious and 23% are somewhat religious. So 75% of the control group, which are the flat earthers, are religious, compared to 57% of the general population. Now that is very indicative of the fact that flat earthers are flat earthers mainly because of their religious beliefs. That's what you get from this. You have to understand that's what you get from this. It's very interesting. It's what I have suspected for a long time. It's what many of us have suspected for a long time. And that is where we're going to finish today, everyone. We're done for another Saturday session. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this one, please subscribe, of course, if you haven't done so already, and give the video a thumbs up as well. I'm going off for a coffee and a cake. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.